Thank you for all joining us today. If you can hear me, my audio is clear. Please type in a 1 into the chat so I know that I am audible and you can all hear me. Just type in a 1 into the chat. Fantastic. Thanks a lot for that. Usani, Ifeolua, absolutely fantastic. We're expecting more people to join us. And one thing I would advise you to do, if you know somebody that could benefit from today's session, share the message with them and get them on board. Would have a session, 1.5 hours of understanding what it takes to become a business analyst or an agile project manager. And that's the reason why we are here today. A lot of people are thinking of transitioning into the tech ecosystem, but the challenge for so many people includes the inability to go through a structured learning program that will get them the skills and the employability skills to also perform, get that job during the interview, and eventually land the role. And that's why I'm here today. I'll walk you through the steps, the nitty-gritty of what you need to get started. What does a business analyst do? An agile project manager, what do they do on a day-to-day, and how can you become one? And by the end of today's session, you'd be able to get to a conclusion deciding to become either a business analyst or an agile project manager. So let's get started with our session today. I want our session to be as interactive as possible. So please feel free to ask your questions as soon as they occur to you. Type it into the chat. I have my colleagues on the call to answer those questions. Before we wrap up the session today, I'll take questions from you and also help to address all the concerns that you have. Okay, I think Abayomi is writing on my screen. Abayomi, please don't write on the screen. I think you're scribbling something. Okay, so Ubongi, there's a way you can stop this from happening. Please go ahead and do that. So let's get started. And why are we here today? First of all, who are we at Analytics and what is Analytics all about? And I want to get a feel of the people I have in class. Okay.
Sorry about that. It's an error. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
Thank you.
Let's mute everyone. All right. So I want to get a feel of the people we have in class. So type into the chat, let me know where you are joining us from. Okay, for example, I'm currently in Alberta, Canada. So if you're joining us from Glasgow, Scotland, London in the UK, type into the chat, let me know where you're joining us from. Okay, type into the chat and let's see where you are joining from. Jennifer is joining from the UK, Obi from Houston, Texas. Olaide is joining from Aberdeen, Nottingham, Ifeoluwa, Sheffield, Ontario, Tolulope. Fantastic, brilliant. So let's get started. So the Agile project manager versus the business analyst. How do you select the career path? Which one do you get into? And what are the skills required for you to transition into this space? And that's what I'll be sharing with you today. First of all, we are the leading educational technology company, Analytics. And the focus for us is to help Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora to transition into the tech ecosystem. And one of the ways we've done this is by providing the premium training skills, equipping you with the skills to compete for the best jobs available across the entire data ecosystem. Over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people to make that transition from the classroom to getting their first jobs in the tech ecosystem across the areas of data analytics to business analysis, data science, HR analytics, cybersecurity, and so on and so forth. And just to give a bit of an introduction about myself, I'm a technology expert. My name is Adaiza. I have close to a decade experience in data analytics and management consulting. And using Analytics as a platform, we've been able to help over 2,000 people that look like me to also transition and get jobs within the tech ecosystem. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK and in the US. I've worked with one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa. And I've also worked as a data analytics consultant with the FCC, owned by the central bank and the NDIC. My experience cuts across financial services, educational technology, energy, automobile, and so on and so forth. And I'll be leading your session today. And like I said, please feel free, ask as many questions as you have. I think one thing that we might have in common with so many of you here today, or one thing I have in common with you, is I have no tech background. My first degree was in industrial chemistry. My first job was as a management consultant, nothing related to tech. But then I was able to make that jump and make the transition. How can you do the same? Or how was I even able to do that? And I'll be sharing my experience with you as we move on. And our session cuts across 4 key areas. The first is understanding the role of the business analyst and the agile project manager. You need to understand where you're getting into. And this is one of the mistakes people make. They follow the buzz, they follow the trend, what people are saying, and they decide to transition without understanding clearly what the role entails. Okay. Secondly, you'd learn about the pathway to becoming a business analyst or an agile project manager. So what's the strategic approach you need to take? After learning the skills, what next? Are your skills enough for you to get that job? The direct answer is no. So what else is involved? And I'll be sharing that with you. And of course, I'll introduce you to our upcoming cohorts starting on the 7th of September in a few weeks' time. And finally, I have a special offer for those of you that will stay with us for the next 1.5 hours as we drive through this session today. Now, before we get started, dive into the main meat of our session today, I want to find out from you, which of these 2 career paths are you interested in? We're looking at the business analyst and the agile project manager. So type into the charts. Looking at the 2 career paths, which of these 2 would you say you are interested in getting into? Let me hear from you. Type into the chat. Let me get your feedback. Harry says agile PM, Abiola, project manager, Titi Lope, business analyst. Business analyst. Okay, so we have the agile project managers, the business analyst. Somebody says both. Tayo says both. Abayomi, project management. Agazie says both. Both. Interesting. We can be everything we want to become. So let's even understand. Can we learn the 2? Can we become both an agile project manager and at the same time a business analyst? Okay. So we'll start with the skills you need to learn. Okay, that's where we're going to start from. What are the tech skills you need to learn to get a job quickly? Now, when you look at the business analyst and you look at the agile project manager, you ask yourself the question, why are these career paths in demand? And we follow Tenalytics, we follow a very clearly educated approach to selecting the career path that we offer to participants that join us. And one of the first things that we always do is we scrape the major job boards across the major economies, from the UK to the US to Canada, LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, CV Library, Total Jobs, ZipRecruiter. We get data from these job boards and we do the analysis. So we scrape the data from these job boards and we do the analysis to see the jobs, the career path that are most in demand, that have been highly requested by HR consultants, by potential employers, the roles they have put out there for the whole year, the duration of the entire year. So every end of the year, November, December, we carry out this analysis to see the career path, because the tech ecosystem is very broad and people would assume wrongly, if I find myself in any tech-related career path, I'm good to go. But you have to juxtapose that against some certain criteria that I'll be sharing with you today. So what we do is we scrape this data from the major job boards, and we do the analysis to see the career path that have been frequently requested for, and we juxtapose that against 3 major criteria. The first one is ease of learning. Ease of learning simply meaning that I could be a banker, for example, working in business assurance, or I could be working in FMCG as a logistics officer, or I could be, a nurse working in a hospital, but then I can transition to the career path. That's called ease of learning. So which career path is heavily skill-based, that all I need to do is learn the skill and then I can transition into that area. And a career path that will take me between 3 to 5 months to get started in. All right. So we looked at the ease of learning because you look at different career paths within the tech ecosystem, software engineering, and so on and so. Software engineering, for example, back end and front end will take you well close to a year for you to learn the skills, constant commitment and dedication to learning for about a year. So that doesn't fall within one of the criteria we had set. So even though this job is in high demand, is it easy to learn? All right. So we looked at ease of learning. We looked at ease of transitioning, meaning that are these jobs available? Once I've learned these skills, can I get a job? And of course, the final criteria is high and rewarding salaries. So we juxtaposed the data we had gotten, the analysis we had done against these 3 major criteria, and it gave us 8 different career paths. And the 8th career path includes the business analyst career path and the agile project manager career path. And that's why we are here today, to discuss these 2. Of course, we have 6 more below, but we're not discussing those career paths today. Today's session would focus on the business analyst and the agile project manager career path, okay? So when we did this analysis and we saw that, okay, these are the 8 career paths. Now, can we validate this externally? Do you have any external, publication that also speaks to the same thing that we've seen? Because the analysis is in-house. We did it internally. But do we have any external reports, external article, any reputable organization that have also done something similar to what we've done? And that's where the World Economic Forum comes in. This is a report that we use day in, day out, year in, year out. And the World Economic Forum from 2016 started publishing the Future of Jobs report. Why is the Future of Jobs report important? Now, imagine you've worked all your life as a banking officer, all right, or a banker, you've worked in business assurance, you've worked in risk management, but now you've moved to Canada, you've moved to the UK, you've moved to the US, and you want to get a job. You want to compete for the best jobs available. You want to get into a career path that would still remain relevant over the next 5 to 10 years. You don't want to get into a career path only to realize that in the next 5 years, your job is on the downward trend. So the World Economic Forum shows you 2 key areas: the jobs that will grow in demand at the left-hand side and the job that will decline in demand over the next 5 to 10 years. And I always say this in every session I lead. It is important that you look at the World Economic Forum before making a decision on your next move as related to your career. All right. And of course, you'd see majority of the jobs that will grow in demand includes jobs within AI, machine learning, business intelligence, information security, data analyst, and so on and so forth. But then you have the process automation specialists, who are the business analysts. The business analyst in any organization focuses on the processes, ensuring that a process that takes 10 days can be optimized to take just 24 hours. Okay, so how does it work? And I'm going to walk you through what the business analyst role entails. So you'd see the business analyst role as one of the career paths that would grow in demand. And of course, you also have the project managers. But this time around, not a traditional project manager. Okay, so project management is broad, but the areas where you have growth and upward trend when it comes to relevance and the demand in the job market, that's where you find the agile project manager, the scrum master, and so on and so forth. And that's why we are here today. All right. So the question is, are there jobs? Are people getting these jobs? Are the jobs available? And so on and so forth. So it always seems impossible until you see somebody that has done the same. And this is where a lot of people feel like, oh, these jobs are not there. It's difficult to get the jobs. But how are people getting these jobs? How has Analytics helped people get these jobs? And that's the reason why you've joined this session. And I'll be sharing the key steps you need to take and what you must do to compete for the best jobs available out there. Having the skills alone does not cut it. Having the good, no matter how good you are as a project manager or as a business analyst, you're going to struggle to get that job if you don't have certain things in place. And I'm going to share those things with you. So we have people who have joined us. They've gone through the program. They're doing amazingly well, professionals within the ecosystem. For example, you have somebody like Ramat. Ramat is currently a business architect with the NHS in the UK, full visa sponsorship after joining our business analysis program. All right, you have somebody like Tony. Tony is a benefits analyst working with the NHS, full visa sponsorship also after completing our program. You have Abigail. Abigail lives in Canada. She works in Canada. Used to be a care worker. Abigail moved from care, working in the care as a care worker, joined our business analysis program, and today Abigail works with the government of Alberta as a business analyst. Within 2 months, she got this job within 2 months of completing the training. And I'm going to play Abigail's video because you need to listen to Abigail. It's a 2 minutes plus video. You'd hear what she has to say. How did she make the transition? And that's where you'd learn that it's more than just understanding and learning the skill. So we're going to listen to Abigail. You have Joel, you have people like Vivian, Oluwadamilare, Ikmat, and so many other professionals, all right? And we hold sessions every month where we bring people that have gone through the system. We've helped them prepare for interviews, job references, their CVs, their LinkedIn, and they landed a job. So how I secured a job after training with Analytics, you have these sessions every single month. So I've clipped 4 of these sessions for you. So at the end of today's session, you will get the slides. And for you to get the slides, ensure that you fill the attendance form. My colleagues would share the attendance link for you. Ensure you fill the attendance form so that you receive all the materials. You receive the slides, you receive the recording of today's session. All right. So you listen to how people got their jobs after training with us. What did they focus on? And what were the focus areas for them? But let's listen to Abigail very quickly. And then we continue with who is a business analyst and what does it take to become a business analyst. All right. So I'm just going to click on this link. Okay. I'll click on the link. I've left the link for you guys so that at the end of the session, you can go back and watch the. Just give me 1 second while I sort this out. I'll share the screen so that you can see Abigail. Right.
Hi guys,
So just give me 1 second. Let me share my screen. Bring this right to the next screen so you can see Abigail. And I want you to listen carefully. All right. Listen to what Abigail has to say and ensure that you understand what it took for her to make that transition from a care worker into a business analyst. All right. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Abigail.
My name is Abigail Gaga, and I want to talk about my journey with Analytics and how it has helped me to ace my interview and eventually land that dream job that we always wanted. So my training with Analytics has transformed my career as a business analyst. They have coached me really well, thoroughly, with hands-on projects, and the instructors are usually super awesome. They are well experienced. They let you understand all the process of being a business analyst. Topics that are covered are usually real life experience with a hands-on project where you do as a team, where you do as individual. There's always a one-on-one session if you want. There's always someone there's always someone out there to talk to you when you need, or when you are confused about a situation or anything, or when you just need someone. It's always to talk to. And the interview preparation, they use real life experience, they coach you on interview, and they tell you what you are doing right and what you are doing wrong, and where you need to improve and where you are perfect, and all of that. So I am going to recommend Analytics to everyone. I'm recommending Analytics to all my friends, to anyone watching this video. Please don't think about it twice. When you just try and attend one of these sessions, it will open your mind, it will give you more ideas on what it is all about. Don't be scared. It was working with Analytics that gave me the confidence to apply for some job roles that I naturally wouldn't apply, because I feel those job roles are usually too big for me. Like, the name sounds so big, and Analytics makes me understand that you can do it as a business analyst. We all got the idea. So I am 100% recommending Analytics to anyone that has thought about being a business analyst, a data analyst, or all the analysts that they coach you on. You won't have regret in it. You will come to thank me later. I am happy I joined Analytics. They help you develop your user stories on how to use scenario, on how to use real life experience to answer your interview questions, which is usually what helps you to ace your interview. I am so happy I joined Analytics, and I wouldn't have been where I am today without the coaching and help of Analytics. I personally would want to thank the coordinator. He's very good at doing his job. His name is Ubong. Please disturb Ubong on everything you need. Like, he's always there 100%. Any time of the day you call him, he picks it. Matter he's sleeping 2 a.m., 1 a.m. I am really, really recommending Analytics. So guys, join Analytics and you won't regret it. And Analytics, I personally want to thank you for training me, for building my confidence, and for helping me to understand that there's a BA in every one of us.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
So that's
Bye.
Abigail, and that's Abigail's story. And if you go to our YouTube, you visit the Analytics YouTube page, you'd have numerous testimonials, listening to absolutely amazing professionals that have gone through the system and are doing phenomenally well. Okay, you'd listen to somebody like Joel, who got a job as a data engineer, working remotely from Nigeria, working for a company in the US. You listen to Vivian, who also got a job as a data scientist, working remotely for a company in Paris, before eventually moving to the UK and getting a new job as an associate manager, data analytics and business analytics. So you get to listen to people that would give you that inspiration to also get started. Abigail, just like so many of you, had no experience. She joined the business analysis program and she was able to make that switch and make the transition. And I want you to type into the charts, okay? What did you learn from listening to Abigail? Okay, what do you think helped Abigail transition? She talked about a couple of things, but I want to know what you got from what she said. Just one word. Type it into the charts. What do you think helped Abigail move from the care working job to becoming a business analyst? Ijoba says confidence. Okafo says focus. Absolutely. I love that word confidence. And that's something that everybody who joins Analytics, their first week, your first, second week, you realize that, look, you're going to apply to those jobs you never imagined you could apply to. All right. So we put that confidence in you. And people often, feel like, because I'm getting started, I need to look for the very, minimal, basic roles I can get. But that's not the case. The tech ecosystem is a heavily skill-based area. Your ability to showcase your skills and your experience, which comes through projects, is what gets you that job, your competence. And I'm going to break it down as we move on. And that was what helped Abigail, her interview preparation. Okay. Jennifer says support from the team and the wealth of knowledge. Absolutely. Her interview prep. Jennifer had 3 3 different interview stages, and she had people that worked with her, experts, to help her preempt the type of questions that are likely going to come up. So she went into the room knowing exactly what to say, knowing exactly how to sell her story and sell herself. And that's what you get from being a part of 10 Analytics. But let's move on and let's understand what the data, what the business analyst role entails. Who is a business analyst? And I'll explain this in very simple terms. Every organization has 3 major components: the people, the processes, and the technology. Every organization would have this. Okay? Now, the business analyst focuses where? On the processes. Every organization has a process. Before you join this session today, you follow the process. Some of you saw an advert, you joined the community. From the community, you got a prompt or the link to be in this session today. There is a process. If you're in your organization, you want to go on leave, you have a HR platform where you log into the platform, you go to leave request, you click on that, you apply for leave, and you're able to go on leave. Okay, every organization has a process. The business analyst goes into that organization, analyzes the process to see where you have gaps and inefficiencies. So if a process takes 3 days to get completed from the start to finish, how can we, the role of the business analyst is to look at that process and identify, how can I reduce this thing that takes 3 days to only 3 hours? And most of the time, for you to optimize that process, you need to do what? Automate. Okay, and this is the reason why the business analyst is also called the process automation specialist. To make a process faster, to make a process more seamless, more optimized, you need to do what? Automate that process. So in automating the process, you're going to build applications and software to automate application and software. So as a business analyst, it's not your business to build that application because you don't have the skills to build the application, but you would manage the entire process, the entire project of building that application. So once you analyze the process, you realize that we have too many manual processes. And these manual processes lead to errors, leads to delays, and we need to close those gaps so we can take this process from 3 days to 3 hours. What do we need? We need to implement an application. We need to build a software to automate those manual processes. So you gather all the requirements for that particular application. What should the application have? You'd sit down with all the different stakeholders, all the different players within that space, the head of units, the head of department, customer service, and even your external stakeholders who are your customers. All right. So you are literally doing what? You've analyzed the process. You're going to analyze the stakeholders as well and identify who do I need to sit down with, have a conversation to understand exactly what I need in building this application, building this software, and so on and so forth. So simply put, that's what you do as a business analyst, optimizing processes. So you are simply doing what? You're a professional who would focus on analyzing the business processes, the systems, and the stakeholders to identify areas of improvement to the business challenges. And we're going to look at a practical real-life scenario of how a business analyst can add value to any organization. Let's imagine you sell handbags, or your friend sells handbags, okay, handmade bags, and she sells them on Instagram, all right? But recently, your friend, told you that customers have been complaining. So your friend has always found, a major problem she has is customers complaining about delayed deliveries and incorrect orders. So yesterday, your friend told you that a customer ordered for a blue bag, okay, for a blue Michael Kors bag, but we delivered a blue Calvin Klein bag instead of Michael Kors. So you have the customers getting incorrect orders. and there are delays in deliveries. So a customer has ordered since on Monday, Friday, it hasn't been delivered to the customer because of delays. Now, as a business analyst, what do? The first thing you do as a business analyst is you assess the process, analyze the process. So you go into the company and do what? You want to know currently in this company, how do they operate? What are the processes involved for a customer to order a bag and that bag gets delivered to the customer? So you want to understand the current state, which is the as-is state. As is. So today, what does the process look like? So let's assume the process looks like this. A customer would order a bag by calling. So they get your number on Instagram and they call. Hello, I want to buy a bag. This is the type of bag I want. This is my address. So they order by making a phone call. Now, the staff, the customer rep who picks up the call would do what? Write down all the details of the bag, the color of the bag, the type of bag, and so on. And would look through a notebook. So there's a notebook that the customer rep has that shows the type of bags you have and if it's available or not. Okay. Now that staff would also do what? Print all the details after receiving the call and typing it out. Or you want a blue bag, you live in 95th Street, 110 Avenue, and so on. Write down your address and also would have to go to the store physically to check, is this bag available? Okay. And eventually, if the staff finds out that the bag is available, they call the courier to pick it up and then deliver to the customer. Okay. So customer would order by making a phone call. The next step is somebody would do what? Write down the order details, write down the address, and print those details, and also check through a notebook to see if that particular item is available. Now, I want you to tell me, what do you think the problems are with this particular process? Just type into the chat. Now, imagine that you are the owner of this business or you are a business analyst. What are the problems, the potential problems you see from this process where the customer would call, somebody is writing down the details, checking through a notebook to see if the item is available, going to the store to check physically if that particular product is also there before they eventually pick it up and send to the customer? What are the possible problems? Joy says manual documentation. Thanks a lot for that, Joy. I want to get more feedback. So type into the chat, what do you think is wrong? The process is not automated. Tony, absolutely. The process is not automated. The process is very manual, just like Joy said. All right. Lack of effective time management. Absolutely. So by the time you're checking through a notebook, you are writing things down manually. You could write the wrong address. The customer could have said 25th Street, and you write 26th Street. So you are delivering to the wrong customer. And that's why customers are complaining. There are delays in deliveries and incorrect orders. So the business analyst, and this takes 3 days. The entire process takes 3 days. So as a business analyst, what do? You go into this company and you map out the current process, the as-is process. And just the same way you are identifying the areas where there are issues, you would identify those gaps and inefficiencies. Manual process, writing things down manually, prone to errors. Okay? You are looking through a notebook to check if you have that item available. You could miss something. It would waste time, take a lot of time for you to get that done. You have to physically confirm from the store if that item is available. That would also take time wasting, like Baby said. Okay, now what's the correct process, or what should a business analyst do? You recommend the ideal, the future states. What should the future state look like? What should the optimized state look like? So that same process, instead of the customers calling to order, you do what? You implement an online platform. Okay, so customers, rather than ordering by making a phone call, they order through an online platform. And because they're ordering through an online platform, the online platform has an order management system. And the order management system is programmed with inventory management. So when a customer orders a black bag, a black Michael Kors bag, you've already programmed the number of Michael Kors bags you have on the platform. So that would be, let's assume you have 100 Michael Kors bags. A customer orders one, it will be -1, and then you have 99. So at every point in time, you would know the number of bags you have available, the type of bags customers can order. You don't have to manually check. All right. So this speeds things up a lot. And of course, once the customer orders, selects the item they want to order, they enter their address, everything is entered. They're not going to make mistakes entering their correct address, the postcode, and so on and so forth. So that system, the online platform, the inventory management, the order management system would automatically generate the shipping label based on what the customer has entered. And with that, you are likely not going to have errors from the customers because they know their correct address and they enter the correct address. The courier picks up the item and delivers to the customer. So comparing this to the first process, this takes just 5 hours compared to 3 days. Why? By implementing an order management system. Now, this order management system that has streamlined and optimized the process would be managed by the business analyst. The business analyst would make a business case that for us to optimize this process that takes 3 days, we need an order management system. This is the cost benefits for implementing the order management system. It's going to reduce the time it takes to deliver. You're going to have less errors, so you don't have to attempt delivery multiple times, wasting money and wasting time. So the business analyst would manage the entire process of building that order management system from start till finish. The business analyst would work with the software developer, work with the UI UX designer, work with other stakeholders involved in building that particular system. So before you even start building, you're going to sit down with this guy here who receives calls from customers. What does your process look like? What would you expect to have on this order management system? And you gather requirements by speaking to all the different people involved all through the process. You document those requirements, and that's what you communicate to the software developers who build that particular application to ensure that you have the application, you have the tool that can help you solve that problem. Okay? And because of this, the business analyst must have specific set of skills. You must be able to manage stakeholders, manage people, communicate with people. You must be able to ask questions, interview, asking the right questions to get the information that you need to help implement the solution that you have proposed. You need to know how to map out processes. How do you map out processes using tools like Draw.io, Lucid Charts, and so on and so forth? And that's the role of the business analyst. So you take a process that takes 3 days, you optimize it, and now it takes just 5 hours. And you can work in any organization, any industry. You work in the hospital also needs a business analyst. How do we optimize our emergency room? How do we ensure people don't have to wait so long to get to see a medical doctor, a general practitioner, or whoever they need to see? You can work in aviation, you can work in logistics, you can work in FMCG, because every organization has what? Processes. And your role is to optimize and streamline those processes. So what are the key skills you need to become a business analyst? Number one, you need to have data skills. And this is where I tell people, I've interacted with so many people, so many business analysts. Oh, Adeza, I've not been able to get a job. Oh, Adeza, I'm struggling to get a job. What do you need to do? Most of them don't have Power BI, Excel, and SQL on their CVs. And I'll tell you this, And if this is the only thing you take away from today's session, I think you'd have taken something valuable. In 2024 and beyond, you can't be a business analyst without the understanding of data skills. You need to know how to use Excel, handle data in Excel, analyze that data, build a dashboard to visualize the data. You need to know how to analyze data. Even though that's not your core responsibility, it's not your core function, that's not what you do on a day-to-day, but you'd find roles where the business analyst will be required to do some level of analysis before you even get started. And you'd see that on job requirements. So you need Excel, you need Power BI for your data visualization, automating your dashboards, your reporting, and of course, SQL, structured query language. And your focus on SQL would be, how do I get data that exists in a database? Because structured query language is the language you use to interact with databases. Okay, so how, if my data is in a database, how do I get that data before I use Excel and Power BI to do my analysis? So you need to have this. Then you move to process mapping. So how do I map out a process? The customer calls, this happens, that happens, that happens. How do I map out the process so I can see clearly where the issues are, where the gaps are? You use tools like Lucidchart and Draw.io to do what? Map out your processes. Then you must also have project management skills, because you're going to manage a lot of projects that involves the building of application, the building of software, because those are the things that would optimize the processes that you'll be involved in. Okay, the processes you're trying to optimize and streamline, you need to have project management skills to manage those projects. So you need project initiation planning, Agile and Scrum for projects. Okay, so you're going to learn how to use tools like Jira to track your project deliverables, use tools like Trello to track your task and your project team members and see what they're doing. And of course, you'd also get to learn Confluence for collaboration on projects. Okay, you'd learn the software development lifecycle. So if you're going to implement a software to streamline and optimize a process, how is that software planned? How is it designed? How is it deployed? How is it tested? How is it maintained? You need to understand the software development lifecycle. Then requirement fundamentals, which is you simply getting all the requirements, functional requirements, non-functional requirements for that particular solution that you're proposing. Elicitation is where you ask the right questions to get the answers that you need. You are setting up focus group sessions. You are setting up workshops. You are having interviews to ask the key stakeholders questions that would help you solve that problem. All right. Then you must learn stakeholder analysis and engagement. Who are your stakeholders? How do you rank your stakeholders based on their influence? How do you communicate with the different stakeholders that you'll be working with on projects like that? And of course, AI for business analysis using ChatGPT. All right. And these are the key learning areas for any business analyst. So what I need you to do, you can take a screenshot of this. If anybody asks you, what do I need? And if anybody tells you you don't need Excel, you don't need Power BI, you don't need SQL as a business analyst, you know that you are limiting your options of the type of jobs you can get. For example, without Excel, Power BI, and SQL, you cannot get a job as a business data analyst, which is a trendy role nowadays. And who is a business data analyst? A business data analyst is a business analyst that has a flavor of data analytics. All right. So you're going to do your core business analysis roles, but you can analyze data on Excel. You can use Power BI to create dashboards, visualization, create reports, and so on. And you can interact with a database using SQL to get data, analyze data, and so on and so forth. That's the business data analyst. And it's a very, fantastic role. And I'll give you a very quick example. Just permit me to go back a few slides. And I want to show you this gentleman, Olamide. Olamide joined us as a business analyst. So he had worked as a business analyst. He had experience as a business analyst. But what did Olamide lack? Why was he struggling to get a job? So he was out of work and couldn't even get an interview. So Olamide came to us, and I looked at his CV, assessed his situation, and we realized, yes, you have experience, but you don't have Excel, you don't have Power BI, you don't have SQL. How do you compete in a very competitive job market? Olamide is in the UK. He was out of work from February up until July. So February to July, before he joined us, he was out of work. And for anybody living in the UK, you'd understand what it means not to have a source of income, a stable source of income for 6 months. So he was out of work for 6 months, no interviews, not to talk of getting the job. And all I advised Olamide to do was join our business analysis program. Okay, learn again, learn new skills, work on projects, and most importantly, add Excel, Power BI, and SQL to your skills. Include that on your CV. And just a month, he completed his program in October. And by November, Olamide got this job as a business data, I'm going to highlight the data, a business data analyst with U Energy in the UK. And that's the beauty Excel, Power BI, and SQL can have on your skills, your resume as a business analyst. And that's why it's important. This is a practical example of that. So anybody who tells you, oh, you don't need Excel, you don't need Power BI, because I've heard this so many times. Check for yourself, go to LinkedIn, go to CV Library, do a search and check what the requirements are. You might not see the 3 in a single job post, but you'd see they require Excel for one particular role. The other role, you need to have Power BI and SQL and so on and so forth. Okay, now what does it take for you to learn? 4 months, the timeline for becoming a business analyst. 2 months in class, where you are working on projects, you are learning all the fundamentals, all the techniques, and so on and so forth. And you have another 2 months where you work on a web application development project, a real-life end-to-end project where you apply all the skills you've learned, all the Confluence you've learned, the Jira you've learned in class. Now you're applying it in a real-world scenario, working on a project that involves the building of a web application. You'd work with a real software developer, you'd work with a real UI UX designer and other stakeholders to complete this particular project. And before we wrap up, I'll show you some screenshots of what the web application looks like for the type of project you'll be involved in. Now, why is the internship important? It's important because when you get into interviews, and this is what made somebody like Abigail very successful, you're not going to get asked questions like, oh, define process mapping. Okay, you won't get questions like that. Interviews are competency-based. You get competency-based questions to assess your competence, your skills and experience. So you get questions like, tell me about a time you have managed a process optimization project and what were the challenges you faced while working on that project. These are questions you can't whip up something on your feet if you haven't done it before. So you working on a project like that gives you the opportunity to get a real-world experience that you would use when you get into that room during your interviews. And that's why your learning journey is broken into learning in class, working on projects, and then you have your internship where you work in a real-life scenario building a web application. And the class structure is designed in a way that it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in the UK, you could be in the US, and you have a class that fits your schedule. If you're in the UK, for example, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Saturdays, you have a class. All right? If you are in Canada, you are in the US, you have a class 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Okay, so for those in the UK, for example, Saturdays 11 to 2, and on that same Saturday, the class for those in the US and Canada would be 6 to 9 p.m. UK time. So if you're in the UK, for example, you could decide that, oh, the morning class, maybe I'm busy in the morning, I'm going to join the guys in Canada and in the US, and you have that flexibility embedded for you, all right? And on Sundays, you have your classes in the UK, you know, South, West Africa, similar time zones, Europe, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And if you're in Canada, you're in the US, it's 12 noon to 3 p.m. Mountain Time. So there's a class that fits your time zone. It doesn't matter where you are, okay? And this is what it takes to be a business analyst. Now, this is where you learn your technical skills, you build your technical experience, you know how to map out a process, you know how to interview, you know how to set up focus group sessions, workshops, and so on and so forth. But is this enough for you to get a job as a business analyst? The answer is no. All right? I'm going to show you what you need in addition to your technical skills for you to compete and get the jobs available out there. And as a business analyst, we are looking at fantastic salaries of over £52,000 per annum in the UK, in Canada, about 74,000 Canadian dollars, and over 85,000 US dollars in the US. Now, one major mistake people make is, oh, there's everybody are getting into, you know, business analysis. Are there jobs? I don't want to do what everybody else is doing, and so on and so forth. I always get this all the time. And this is because people don't know that you can get jobs in different areas as a business analyst. Because you've done a business analysis program does not mean that you can only apply to a business analyst role. You can apply to get a job as a process automation analyst, as a business architect, just like Ramat. Ramat is a business architect with the NHS in the UK, all right? You can get a job as a process improvement analyst, as a product reliability engineer, a process analyst, business process analyst, business systems analyst, IT business analyst, requirements engineer, and so on and so forth. There's so many roles within change management analyst, okay? It's also a role you can get as a business analyst. And these are the things we expose you to. We walk you through during the job application stages of your journey with us. So it's not just you figuring things out yourself. You have people to walk you through the process. And that was why somebody like Abigail was able to start from a care worker, go through the program, and get a job as a business analyst. Now, before we move into Agile project management, if you haven't filled the attendance form, ensure you fill the form so that you get all the materials and you get everything that you need after today's session ends. Okay, somebody's saying, can I get trained as a data analyst? Absolutely, but today's session is not for data, it's not for the data analyst, it's for the business analyst and the Agile project manager. So we are looking at those two career paths, okay? So make sure you fill the attendance form, very, very important, so that you are able to get all the different materials that we have for today. Now let's move into the Agile project manager role. Who is an Agile project manager? An Agile project manager is different from the conventional project manager. I want us to distinguish the two, okay? So when you look at the project manager, because when I asked at the beginning, which career path are you interested in? A lot of people selected project manager. Your conventional project manager is different from the Agile project manager. And I would explain what Agile means to you in the simplest way possible. Okay, but first of all, as an Agile project manager, you are a servant leader. Okay, and I would explain who a servant leader is. So you're not that person that would say, oh, you go do this, go do that. You're not directing and commanding and controlling. That's not the type of project manager you are. You are rather somebody who ensures that the team works effectively. If there are impediments, you are trying to complete a project and there are blockers stopping a particular team member from accomplishing their task, you remove that impediment for them. If there is a need to meet with a particular department in order to achieve the next level of activities we have set for ourselves. You, as the servant leader, would facilitate that meeting. So you serve the team to ensure that the team functions effectively and they're able to deliver value on any project that they take up. Okay? So I want you to take note of this particular keyword. You are a servant leader. Now, why is Agile different from your conventional project management? And let's use this analogy. Let's assume you want to make a burger, okay? You want to make the best burger possible. You want to make burger and offer it to your customers, all right? And I want you to type into the chat, what are the ingredients you feel would make the best burger out there, the best burger possible? Type into the chat. Let me hear from you. Okay, so you need the bun, you need what else? What do you think you need to make the best burger? Type into the chat. Let's work together. Okay, type into the chat. Let's work together. The best burger. You want to make burger for the flour. Okay, so Greg says flour. So let's say bun. You have the burger bun or the burger bread. So let's say the bun. You have the bun. Okay, what else? The burger bun. What else do you have? You have this steak, onions, veggies, mustard, ketchup. Okay, so let me pick a few. Okay, let's say you have the bun, you have your beef patty. Okay, and let's say you have your pickles, or let's not use pickles. Let's say you have your ketchup. All right, now, conventional project management, which is waterfall. The waterfall methodology would require us to come up with all the ingredients we feel is best, will give us the best burger. So we list everything out and then we make that burger and give to our customer. That's conventional project management. You list all the different ingredients, the bun, the beef patty, the ketchup, the mayo, the tomatoes, caramelized onions, all the things you feel would make the best burger. You bring them together, you make that burger and you give to your customer. That's your conventional project management, which is waterfall. Okay, the waterfall methodology. And we're going to break this down further in the next slide. Now, Agile is where you're not going to decide for the customer what is best. You want to make the best burger based on what the customer feels is best. Okay, so what do? What are the common items you're going to put when making a burger? So let's say the bun, the beef patty, and the ketchup. This is the standard. You're going to have this in a burger. Okay, so you put this together as a standard. Okay, this is standard. You need to have this, but then I'm going to create this, and this is called your first product iteration. Okay, let's call this the first product iteration. So you give this to the customer. Oh, taste it and tell me what you think about this burger. So they taste the burger and they tell you that, it looks good. I'll give you a 50%. Okay. But I think it would taste a lot better if you add pickles. Okay. Add pickles and add, caramelized onions. I think it would be better. So you go to the second iteration. You take your beef, you take your bun, your beef patty, your ketchup, but this time around, the second iteration, you are adding what? Pickles and onions. And then you make it again, you give it to the customer, they taste, and they'll be like, wow, I'm going to give you 70% now. This tastes amazing. Amazing. And then you ask again, what can we do to make it better, to make the best burger for you? And they say, okay, I want you to add maybe mayo, add some mayo and bacon for those that like bacon. Okay, so add mayo, add bacon. So you have your what? Your third iteration, third product iteration, where You have your bun, you have your beef, you have your ketchup, you have your pickles, your onions, but this time around, you're adding what? Mayo, and you're adding what? Bacon. And this time around, the customer gives you 100%. This is the way Agile works. The Agile project manager or the Agile framework does not give you the latitude to build something from beginning to the end and give it to the customer. No, you build something which the most relevant features of that particular product. This time around is the beef burger. Okay, you have the bun, you have the beef patty, you have the ketchup, you give it to the customer, taste, let me know. And the customer will give you feedback. And based on that feedback, you make that product better until you have a product that meets 100% requirements of that customer's needs. And that's what Agile project management entails. It is iterative. It is not sequential. It is what? Iterative. You make changes, you make adjustments based on the feedback of the customer. Okay, so we're going to break it down a little bit further as we move on. Okay, so as an Agile project manager, like I said, you're a servant leader. You help your team work effectively within the Agile framework, ensuring that you're able to deliver value. So your value delivery is continuous, and you keep on adapting and improving once you work within the Agile framework. So we're going to look at a real-life example again, which is you want to build a mobile application. So let's say you run a store, that your friend that has the bag, that sells bags. Now she wants to build an application for her business where she can enhance her customer engagement. So you can speak to customers to boost your sales online. All right. Now, traditional project management, which is the waterfall methodology. In project management, you have two key methodologies, or three. You have the waterfall, you have agile, and you have a hybrid. Okay, waterfall, agile, and hybrid. Hybrid is a combination of waterfall and agile. Okay, so the traditional project management, which is where I would say, if you want to get a job the fastest, you want to get into the tech ecosystem, you want to compete for the best jobs, you don't want to look at traditional project management, which is sequential. So you want to build this app, which is like, it looks a lot like WhatsApp, okay? So you can send messages, you can do a lot of things to engage your customers. Now, using the waterfall methodology, what would you have to do? You would first of all plan everything. So you start with requirement gathering. You would plan all the features, all the functionalities. How is this going to be designed? You plan at the beginning and agree on what this application would be able to do. What would be the final product? What would the final product look like? You plan everything from the beginning. So you plan with the end in mind when working with the traditional project management methodology, waterfall. So once you've planned all the requirements, the functionalities, the features, you then come to the design phase. So you agree on the design, what the UI, the user interface, what the user experience would look like. You agree on that as well before you commence. So once you've done that, you've agreed on the features, you've agreed on the functionalities, you've documented it, you move to the design, agree on the design, the UI, the UX, and then you start implementing. Now, let's assume you're building WhatsApp where people can send messages. They can upload pictures. Okay, they can upload videos. They can do, make phone calls and so many things. So you see all these features. Using the traditional project management approach, you'd work on them simultaneously. Okay, we're going to build the application to send messages. It needs to have the functionality to upload images, make video calls, and so on. So you work on that simultaneously while working on the project. And this will take a lot of time. If you agree with me, it takes a lot of time for you to get this done. Okay, now once you've built, you now test. So you built the application, you test, you have your software testers, they test to identify bugs, and those bugs are fixed. As you identify a bug, you fix it during the testing phase. Once you are done with testing, you deploy. You deploy to the customer, and the customer also gets the application at this stage, and they start to use it. But make no mistake, if you have a competitor that has implemented something better than you, then it means all the time you have spent building this application would have gone to waste. Okay, so you can only deploy after you've completed the implementation, you've tested, then you deploy. And once you now have errors, you have mistakes, you have bugs from the user, part of things, that's where you start to maintain, you start to make updates, you start to fix bugs, and so on and so forth. Now, from building, starting of a project to deploying it to the customer, it took you 7 months because you're working on all these different features, all the different functionalities. And one disadvantage of the waterfall methodology is it is not flexible. So because you've set all the requirements at the beginning, this is what we need to have. This is what, if the market conditions change, if the users say, oh, I don't want this anymore, I want that, you've started building already. And it's difficult for you to change at that particular point in time. Okay, so that's one major disadvantage of the traditional project management methodology. Now, as an agile project manager, using the agile framework, which is adaptive and also what? Iterative. How do you implement that same project? Building that app that looks like WhatsApp for you to engage with your customers. You'd form something we call what? Sprints. You have your sprint planning. So what is sprint planning? This is where, just like when you were making that burger, to make a burger, you have different things. You have the bun, you have the beef patty, you have the mayo, and so on. So you break it down into different parts. And then you decide, out of all these different parts of the project, which one is the most important for us to start working on? To have a minimum viable product. To have that burger we can serve to our customer, what must we put in place? Okay, so you can decide in this instance that we're going to build the ability to send messages and upload pictures, because these are the two major functionality that the customer would want. They want to communicate with us, and if they bought a product and it has a default, they want to send that picture to us for us to see. So we agreed during our sprint planning that these are the two key areas we'd focus on. And of course, your sprint usually would last about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending. Okay, so that's how you start with Agile. So you work on the most important features, and you do what? Your testing is continuous. So as you are building, every 2 weeks when you've done the first set of features, you'd have something called what? Sprint review after your sprint planning. After 2 weeks, you have your what? Sprint review. And this is where you look at what you have decided to build. So we said we're going to build the application to have just messages and the functionality to upload pictures. Let's see what we've done. Does it meet the requirements? Does it meet the standard? And then you continuously improve, you test it to see that it's working perfectly. And it's at this point, you do what? You release to the customer. So once you've had your sprint review, you've had your sprint planning, you've decided these are the two key areas we'd focus on. After 2 weeks, you have your sprint review. This is what we built. This is how it works. If there are errors, you go back, you make changes. So your changes, your testing is done continuously. It's not done at the end after you've deployed. It's done when? Built into the process of the project itself. And then you release that particular product, the minimum viable product. WhatsApp did not start. When WhatsApp started, we couldn't make video calls. You couldn't share your screen on WhatsApp. But today you can do all of that. All right. And that's a typical example of the agile approach to project management. So once you release this to the users, they test it, And they would be like, oh, we need to have this, we need to have that. Oh, when you upload pictures, this is how it looks like. And based on that, you make changes, continuous changes to make it improve, just like you give the customers that burger, they taste the burger and tell you that, oh, it needs to have some pickles, or you need to have bacon for it to be the best burger possible. Okay, so you're working with the customer. So the customer is involved. Different stakeholders are involved during the process. So you ensure that you're getting the feedback and implementing that feedback. So at the end of the day, you build a product that fits the customer, that fits the market, and the agile methodology is known because of its adaptability. And that's why it's called the adaptive project management framework, because you adapt to the changes, you adapt to the feedback from customers to make things better. So that thing that took 7 months before you sent it to the customer, when you use the traditional project management approach, this time around, it has taken you just 1 month. So you've created a minimum viable product, you've sent to the customers, they use it, they test it, and then they give you feedback. You make it better, you improve on it. So at the end of the day, you'll be giving the customer the best product possible using the agile methodology, compared to building what you think is the best and giving to the customer and for them to just tell you that, oh, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. And by then it's already too late to start making changes to the architecture of what you built. And this is where agile becomes fantastic. The agile methodology becomes very high in demand, because today we live in a tech ecosystem. You have products and applications for everything. You want to do a bank transaction, you have an app. You want to make payments in the convenience store, you use your mobile phone, you have a wallet, an app on your phone. Everything has an application. Now, in building that application, the agile methodology has been implemented into it. So what do you need to become an agile project manager? First of all, you need to understand what the project management methodologies, the waterfall, agile, and the hybrid. Then you need to learn the skills and communication any project manager would need to have. You'd learn the foundation of Scrum and the Agile framework. Agile has 3 key frameworks. You have Scrum as one of the Agile frameworks. You have Lean, and you have Kanban. Okay, so this time around, as an Agile project manager, you don't just understand the Scrum framework. You also understand Lean and you understand Kanban. So you're able to implement any framework that will do the best job for you as an Agile project manager. So you learn the Scrum framework, understanding the Scrum framework, the Scrum artifacts, the Scrum and Agile practices, the Lean practices, and so on. You'd learn how to use Jira end-to-end and Confluence, working on projects, collaborating, and tracking project deliverables. You'd also learn how to use Kanban boards for workflow management. You'd learn the Agile metrics and reporting framework using your velocity, burn up and burn down charts, the leadership and reward application of the Agile methodology, the Nexus Scale Scrum, which is implementing Scrum on an enterprise level across multiple teams in an organization, and would also help you prepare for the Scrum Master certification, the Professional Scrum Master certification. Your program is for 4 months, just like the Business Analyst program. But this time around, you have 3 months in class learning, and then you have 1 month internship. 3 months in class, learning the fundamentals, learning the techniques, learning the frameworks, the application of the frameworks, working on projects, and then you have 1 month end-to-end project where you'd also be building a web application and you'd be the Agile project manager on that particular project. Your classes are Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. All right. Now, as an Agile project manager, your salaries are also fantastic. Over 52,000 in the UK, very similar to the Business Analyst. 74,000 in Canada, $85,000 US in the US. And just like the business analyst, where you have multitude of different career paths, different job roles you can apply to. The Agile project manager also has different career paths within that same ecosystem. You can apply to jobs as a Scrum Master. You can apply to jobs as a project coordinator, as a lean project manager, a lean Agile coach, and is an Agile project manager, technical Scrum Master, and so on and so forth. A PMO analyst, there's so many different career paths you can apply to as an Agile project manager. Now, all the things I've listed over the last 1 hour, that's where you get your technical skills. Okay, your technical skills. Now, in addition to the technical skills, what do you need to get a job? Once you've gotten your technical skills, the only way you can tell people that you have the skills is by what? Using your CV. But your CV is not enough. Employers want to see what you have done. They need to see your showroom of projects. Show me what you've done. And then I can test and assess the depth of your skills. So you must have a portfolio. And that's why you build a portfolio after you've completed your internship. As a business analyst, as an Agile project manager, you must build a portfolio. And I'll show you what a portfolio looks like very quickly. A sample of the portfolio of somebody who has joined one of our programs. Let's look at the business analyst portfolio, and you see what it looks like. So everybody gets to build a portfolio. And this is where you showcase to potential employers that you have what it takes to do the job, because there is no way they would, have that into your skills and experience if you don't show them. And I always use this analogy. Imagine you want to buy a couch for your living room. One person comes to you and says, oh, I have a certificate. I've gone to carpentry school. I can build very fantastic, couches for your living room. Another person has a showroom where they have built different types of couches. You can go into that showroom, you can test, touch, feel the quality of the couch in the showroom. Who would you give the job to build your couch for you? The person that has a paper that shows they've gone to carpentry school, or the person that has a showroom where you can see proof of what they've done? Of course, you give it to that person that has proof of what they've done. And that's why you must also have proof of what you've done. So this is the business analysis program, and she builds this portfolio. So the portfolio is your showroom of projects that you have worked on. So one project is the Unilever canteen ordering system. So Unilever, as an organization, had a challenge. Employees always go, they always go for lunch at around the same time. So you always have very long queues, people trying to order and get, their food for lunch, which, tend to be a major issue for the company. So as a business analyst, you go in there and streamline that process to make it more efficient. So, and this is what you would also include as part of the work you've done, all right? So if you look at the highlights, Lemuel is saying by employing a comprehensive business analysis approach, including stakeholder analysis, using the RACI matrix, SWOT analysis, process flow mapping, and so on, she was able to solve this problem. But let's go in and let's see what she's been able to do. The link to your portfolio would always be on your CV, so recruiters can see what you've done. Very important. So if I click on this, it takes me into this particular project, and you'd see this, the Unilever canteen ordering system. It's a Tenalytics capstone project by Team SDLC. Of course, broken down into teams and groups, you work together, and there's a background. So this is the documentation after completing that project. So you have the background, the problem statement with the current state. So what's the current state of things? Just like I explained while I was explaining the career path of the business analyst. So there's inefficient lunch breaks, canteen rush during lunch hours, limited food choices and waste. Those are the issues. Now, what are the objectives of implementing the new ordering system? Alleviates the canteen rush, efficient ordering timing, flexible and user-friendly ordering, okay? So many others, order accuracy and all of that. Now, you have the business case. As a business analyst, you must learn to build a business case. Because if you're going to tell an organization that we're going to streamline this process, but what's the benefits of streamlining? You need to be able to show the benefits, show the problem. What's the cost benefit analysis? You need to be able to show that to give credence to the solution you're bringing on board. So you have the business case here. You have the options to do nothing, maintain current operations, or you have what to do to ensure you solve that problem. The benefits, the timeline, and the costs. Okay, you have the expected return on investments, you have the risk. These are all part of your business case. Who are the stakeholders? You have them listed out as well. Okay, you have your stakeholder analysis, ranking your stakeholders based on their influence and so on and so forth. And then you have your RACI matrix, your SWOT analysis, you have the features, okay, the requirements you have gathered, the front end features, the back end features, and then you have your process map, the as-is process map. Okay, so this is what your process map would look like. You'd learn how to do the same using Draw.io, Lucid Charts. You have the to be, which is the future state. You have your sprints, which you'd set up in, approaching the project and so on and so forth. This is what a portfolio looks like. And you'd have a diverse portfolio that has different types of projects. So you have the Unilever Canteen project, Sunshine Results, where you use Power BI to analyze data for a particular result, optimize occupancy rates, reduce cancellations. You have British Airways, which is a project you're also going to work on. So this is what a portfolio would look like. Everybody gets to build a portfolio. Okay, so once you gain the technical skills, you must be able to show the depth of your skills through the projects you have worked on. Just like that carpenter who has a showroom of the couches that he built, and you can feel it, you can touch it, and you can see the quality before you go ahead and give the person the contract. Now, once you've gotten that, the next step is to understand that to get the job, you need two key components. I've shown you one, your technical skills, which is what we've discussed over the last couple of minutes, and then your employability. Employability, I dare say, is even more important, all right? Because the technical is a given. Every employer expects that you have the technical skills, okay? But now you need the employability skills. All right, and I want to get a quick feedback from you before we go on. And also, please ensure if you haven't filled the form, ensure you fill the attendance form so that you don't have issues getting the materials at the end of today's session. If you fall into the category of applying to jobs on read.co.uk or LinkedIn by clicking on Easy Apply, if you do the Easy Apply, just type in one into the chat. If you do Easy Apply when applying to jobs, type in one into the chat. I know everybody will say they don't do Easy Apply, but if you do Easy Apply, type in one. Okay. Gardner says, Gardner types home typed one. Abiola, Reginald, okay. Stella says, when I'm frustrated, it's always, yeah, absolutely. Everybody does the Easy Apply. Easy Apply, it's there as a feature for us, but I'll tell you, you don't get any results by doing the Easy Apply. When applying to a job, you have to be methodical. You have to know exactly what you're doing to get to that, desired outcome. And that's where employability skills comes in. It all starts with your CV. You can't, and when you join analytics, one of the first things you stop doing is Easy Apply. Applying to tons and tons of jobs using one CV, that would end immediately. And that's because for you to get that desired outcome, you must have a good to go CV, a CV that meets the required standard. You must also know how to tailor your CV to job requirements. All right. So when you see a particular job opening, how do you tailor your CV to fit into that opening? So we have CV review sessions where we show you how to do this. If you don't have a CV, we work with you on your CV to ensure you are able to tailor your CV to job requirements. Because every organization will do something called job matching through their ATS. Okay, job what? Matching. So before you even go ahead and apply, after you've tailored your CV to the requirements, you'd use tools like JobScan, Job Analytics, and ChatGPT to assess the level to which you match that particular job. And the average we always give is 85%. Before you go ahead and apply, you must match that job by at least 85%. You must also know how to use the right type of CV format so you pass through the ATS system without any issues. All right. And these are part of the things that you would enjoy as part of Analytics. We will do your CV review session. We show you how to do this. And I always tell people when applying to jobs, you must know exactly what you're getting into. So one of the first things we let you know is to get a job and land that very first job. On the average, you must apply to 249 jobs. Okay, you must have applied to 249 roles. And how do you apply to 249 job roles? With the right CV to get the desired outcome. And that's where it all starts from, your CV. So easy apply is gone. You never do that. I never advise anybody because you don't get any results from easy apply. Then your LinkedIn optimization. Optimizing your LinkedIn profile, having the right keywords. When recruiters go on LinkedIn to search for certain keywords, requirements engineering, for example, Kanban boards, for example, your profile will pop up because you have those keywords on your profile. So we work with you to optimize your LinkedIn profile. You have an Upwork profile as well for those who want to get working as a freelancer, working on projects, and so on and so forth. Navigating the job market. We hold sessions tailored to specific regions, the UK, the US, Canada. Where do I apply to jobs? How do I apply to jobs? We provide you with links to job sites that are not free. So the paid job sites, one of them is UK Visa Jobs, for example, UK Visa Jobs. For you to get access to UK Visa Jobs, where only jobs that comes with sponsorship are available, you need to make payment. So Analytics got that covered. We send you these jobs because we have the subscription and you apply to these jobs to increase your chances of landing that visa sponsored job. You get a COS and then you can get your skilled worker visa and so on and so forth. You also have flex jobs. For those in the UK, for those in Canada, we provide you with those job openings for you to go ahead and apply. And then we don't just leave you to figure it out yourself. We have a session to show you where to apply, how to apply, and ensuring you get the very best outcome. Now, just like Abigail mentioned, when you apply to jobs, you're going to get interviews. You get interview opportunities. And that's where we work with you to do what? Prepare you for that interview. So you go in there saying the right things. A lot of people, and I've worked with so many people, that questions as simple as, can I get to meet you? Introduce yourself. Can you walk me through your experience? People don't know how to answer this question. And it's a question you answer simply with an approach we call the SEAT approach. When you talk about your skills, you talk about your experience, your achievements, and then your traits or your type of person. Your traits or type of person must always align to the core values of the organization you're applying to. So we show you exactly how to prepare. No matter where you are, you're woken up from sleep and you're told to introduce yourself. You know exactly what to say. You talk about your skills, you talk about your experience, your achievement, and your type of person. And more importantly, when you are asked to answer competency-based questions. Competency, sorry, not sure why this is not writing anymore. When you're told to write competency-based questions, just give me a second, guys. I think my PowerPoint is frozen. Let me sort that out very quickly. And as I sort that out, I'll simply just keep on speaking until that is resolved. So when you're told to, answer competency-based questions, what are competency-based questions? These are questions that aim to assess your skills and your experience. So tell me about a time you worked on a process optimization project and what were the key challenges you faced while working on that project? That's a competency-based question. They want to know not just your skills this time around, but they want to assess that you've had experience solving those type of problems. And if you can't do that, it's a challenge, it's a problem for you. Okay, so let me go ahead and reshare. I think I've sorted that out. All right, so you need to know how do you answer competency-based questions? You answer competency-based questions using the STAR approach or the STAR technique. Okay, the STAR approach or the STAR technique. All right, and finally, so what's the STAR technique? Unfortunately, I don't think okay, it's working now. I couldn't write earlier. The STAR technique, STAR, S for situation. Okay, you talk about the situation. So what led to that project? Or I work in an organization where we had a manual process where customers would have to call in order to place an order. And we had a lot of complaints from customers, wrong deliveries, and so on. That was the situation. What was the task involved? All right. So the task required us to solve that problem, to reduce customer complaint, to also reduce the wrong delivery going to the customer by optimizing the process to automate the manual task. That was the task. What were the actions you took? You talk about how you mapped out the process. You talked about how you were able to implement an order management system. You talk about your actions. And finally, what were the results? So when you did that, we're able to reduce the order to delivery time from 3 days to what? 5 hours. And you always exaggerate your results because that's where everybody wants to hire a superstar. You have to show that you're a superstar. And the only way to answer competency-based questions is using the STAR technique. Using the what? The STAR technique. So we work with you, prepare you for this so you don't go into that room mumbling and fumbling and not knowing exactly what to say. And if you have an offer, they typically would ask for you to provide a reference. So one thing I always tell people is, you are not a trainee at Analytics. When you join Analytics, you are a contractor. You are a consultant, not a trainee. Okay, so because every employer wants to see that you are on the job. You didn't just learn over the last 4 months. You've done this and you are currently doing this for a company. That's what they want to see. And the moment they see that, you become more attractive to them. They reach out to you and that's where you get the job. And I'll show you what that means in practical terms. So when you position yourself on LinkedIn, and this is part of the things you do on LinkedIn, and I'm just going to highlight this very quickly and show you. So let's go to LinkedIn, all right? And let's go to Ramat's profile, okay? So I show you Ramat. She's a business architect working with the NHS. And we're going to go to Ramat's profile very quickly, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So let me search for Ramat Bankole, I think. Yes, so that's Ramat. So one of the things you'd see when you search for any Analytics alumni anytime, you'd see something very interesting. When you go to the profile, you'd see that you both worked at Analytics. Okay, you'd always see that you both worked at Analytics. So if you go to the experience, you'd see Ramat, where she was a what? A business analyst consultant, not a trainee. Because if you position yourself as a trainee, nobody would hire you. All right. So business analyst consultant, And she used to be a customer resolution agent with British Gas. After the training, she secured the job as a business architect with the NHS. Full visa sponsorship. She had just completed her master's. She landed that job, got the sponsorship, and today she works with the NHS. And if you go to any other profile, Ramat has come to speak so many times. You see this on her post right here. She's come to speak to other people who are also looking to transition. Okay, so that's Ramat. We held this session, I think, sometime in March this year. So we brought in Ramat. She came to speak, spoke about her experience, her role working with the NHS, and so on and so forth. So for you to be able to get a reference from us, which we write the most compelling reference for you, you position yourself as somebody who's currently on the job with Analytics, and that opens new doors, unlock new doors for you. Of course, you have your weekly mentorship sessions every Thursdays. I'll show you the way this works. And once you get the job and you require additional support, you have on-the-job support. Nonye got a job. She joined us in June. Nonye joined us in June. And late last year, July, just about a month, about 1 month and 2 weeks into her training with us, she got a job. All right, she got a job as a program evaluation analyst. Program evaluation analyst. Now, Nonye's job, she works here in Canada with the government of Saskatchewan in the disability department, where the project and the programs for people living with disability, her role is to assess those programs, evaluate them, and tell if those programs are meeting the outcomes and if they align with the strategy of the government, in delivering, solutions for people living with disability. Now, her role only involves the use of Excel. That's what she uses to analyze the data that she collects from assessing these programs. So because she had just done 1 month and 2 weeks, less than 2 months into the program, she landed this job. And that's because we always tell our participants that once you are done with Excel, for example, start applying to jobs. You don't wait until the end before you start applying, because you might find that organization that need the skills you have at that point in time. And that was Nonye's story. She currently works with the government of Saskatchewan. She joined us in June, and now she started this job in June. Guess what? I'm working with her, okay, to ensure that certain things are that she needs to get sorted out. She has the opportunity to ask me questions. She has the opportunity to bounce ideas off me, and so on and so forth, okay? So that's pretty much what on-the-job support means. And of course, there are more amazing success stories. I'm not going to bore you with all the success stories. Muhyiddin lives in Nigeria, working for a company in the US. You have who is in Canada, working as a solutions analyst. He started his job as a business data analyst in Canada. Now he's moved into a solutions analyst with one of the largest insurance companies. You have Bukola. Bukola joined us in the month of March this year. She hasn't completed her program. She's still with us. I think she just completed it now, but she got this job in June. So she joined us in March, April, May. She was still doing her internship when she got this job. So she sent me this email, "Hi Adeza," and she was giving me a heads up to say that I've gotten this job, all right? I've completed my interviews. We had worked with her during her interviews, and she's saying I should look out for, an email from the company to get a reference. Of course, she sent this on the 6th of June. By the 7th of June, the company sent me an email to provide a reference for Bukola. And of course, I provided the reference. And by the 24th of June, she sent me this email saying that I got an offer from them on Friday. I agreed to it, and Bukola has started her job. Busola, I beg your pardon, has started her job as a performance analyst with Desjardins in Canada, and so many other professionals. Okay, you have Fola. Fola joined the business analysis program in February. She completed her program in May. And by August, she got a business analyst job with the government of British Columbia in Canada. Okay, so this is Bukola Fola sending me a message. You know, she has sent me a message to anticipate the reference. Of course, I said I just completed the reference check. It went smoothly. Congratulations. And of course, she sent me this on the 2nd of August. Hello, I got the job. The contract was signed yesterday. Thank you. And these are professionals. So many success stories. This is Barnum in the US getting a job after completing our program. This is Abdul, who got a job in the UK after completing our program, and so many other professionals. All right. And just like you, so many of them had no experience and they started from the background, from the beginning, and here they are getting amazing opportunities within the ecosystem. Our next cohort starts on the 7th of September, 2024, in about 3 weeks' time, or less than 3 weeks. And I want to ask you before I wrap up my session, so we're wrapping up in the next 10 to 15 minutes, okay? Looking at the business analyst career path and the agile project manager career path, which of the two would you go for? I'd asked this question at the beginning, and I want to see if your responses would change now, okay? So let me know, business analyst, agile project manager. Quem says agile project manager. Okay, Hazel says business analyst. Hazel says business analyst. Tony, agile, business analyst. A lot of agile, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Ijoba says agile project manager. Okay, Ibitoye says business analyst. The two career paths are absolutely phenomenal. The next cohort starts 7th of September. And just at the beginning, when I mentioned, I have a fantastic offer for everybody on the call. For those who will be joining the cohorts that starts on the 7th of September. So we have a discount for you. Rather than paying the full amount of either $750 if you're paying in dollars, or paying £625 if you're £625 if you're paying in pounds, or €730 if you're paying in euros, or 1,125 Canadian dollars if you're paying in Canadian dollars. We have a 20% discount for you. And taking advantage of the discount also means you can make your payment in 2 installments. The first installment and the second installment. So if you're paying in dollars, for example, instead of paying $750, you get to pay only $600. So you have $150 discount right off the bat. And you can also make your payments in 2 installments of $400 and $200. So $400 gets you started. You start your journey on the 7th of September, and then you make the balance payment a month after you have joined the program, the $200. If you're paying in pounds, instead of paying $625, you get to pay just $500. And you break your payments into $350 and $150. $350 gets you into the class, and then the $150 comes in a month after you started. And in euros, $400 to get in, $180 a month after. You're paying in Canadian dollars, $600 to get in, $300 a month after you commence. And this discount is available for the first 20 people from this particular call willing to join the program. Okay, and how do you get to make payments? My colleagues would share the details in the chat, but you can also scan the QR code for those interested in securing their discounts. And also, if you click on this link, it takes you into the enrollment center. And I'll walk you through very quickly how do you walk through payments, how to get started. So once you click on the link, it takes you to the enrollment center. The enrollment center, sorry, I think I clicked on something. The enrollment center is where you can access all the program brochures by clicking on this, and you can make your payments in 2 key options. You can either do a direct transfer. You can transfer if you're paying in Canadian dollars, you can pay through Interac to finance@10analytics.org. You can do a direct transfer in pounds, in euros, in dollars, in Naira as well. And finally, you can also make payments using your credit or debit card. Okay, so I want to make payments using my credit card, for example. I go to Agile Project Manager, click on that. It takes me into the Agile Project Management program. Now, remember, you have the discount of £500. All you need to do, you want to secure your slots. You want to secure make the first payment to secure your slot. All you need to do is come in here, type in 350, which is the amount to secure your slot in pounds. And you get your journey started on the 7th of September, and you can then make the balance payment of 150. So once you click on this, you click on what? You enter the amount, click on reserve a seat. You enter your name, you enter your email, you enter your phone number, and you click on what? Pay for product. Okay, and once you pay, you receive an automated email which would have your receipts and also a link for you to complete your payment. All right, once you click on that link, you complete the payment, you are good to go and you are in the program. All right, so I'm going to take questions before we wrap up. And before I take the question, remember the discount is for the first 20 people to register. So take advantage of the discount. Month in, month out, when we have discounts like this, people that don't take advantage, they come back to say, oh, I'm ready to start. But then they realize that it's no longer $600 because the discount is not there. It's now $750. Or it's no longer £500, it's now £625. So take advantage of the discount, get into the program, and we get your journey started on the 7th of September. Now, while I take your questions, if you have questions, please drop it in the chat, or you can raise your hand, I'll call you up to speak, and I'll take your questions. But before I take questions, I'll quickly just show you what the platform looks like, okay, for the benefit of those who will be joining. So you have a feel of what the platform looks like, how are you going to learn, and so on and so forth, okay? So let's get a feel of the class. Let's get a feel of the LMS and how you learn with us. Now, there are two major platforms that you get to join. The first one is the LMS, the Learning Management System. So the moment you join Analytics, you log in, you create your login details, and you have a dashboard. All right, your dashboard says, welcome back, Adeza, and so on and so forth. So you get started and you have access to the program you have made payment for. I have all the programs here because, of course, I am an admin. Okay, you can see your completed classes. You can see your mentorship classes right here. All the mentorship sessions are live sessions where you have the opportunity to speak with me, to speak to other industry experts that we bring on board. If you have an interview, all you need to do is come in here under interview preparation, click on schedule appointment. Okay, and from here you can select the program. I want to schedule an appointment. The business analysis program. You click on next, and you have the opportunity to schedule your interview. Okay, so if I click on this link, it takes me to a calendar, and I'll check for the date and time available. So the next available date for that particular professional is on the 20th. But my interview is a lot sooner than the 20th. So I want to have my interview earlier. Okay, so maybe I can come back here, click on Julius, and find a time that fits my schedule. All right, find a time that fits my schedule. I book my interview session, and there's an interview prep for example, on Saturday with Julius. So I can set up this interview prep with Julius, meet with him on Saturday, or on Sunday or Monday, and then we get you prepared for that interview. Okay, now you go to your classes, and this is where the LMS is where you watch videos at your convenience. So the program is designed in a blended approach. Blended in the sense that you have your self-paced that you watch at your own convenience, and you have the live sessions, your live classes, where you have somebody like myself, a professional, walking you through projects. So you can come in here anytime and watch videos at your convenience, okay? So I want to watch my video on SQL. Come in here, go to your SQL classes, introduction to SQL, click on that, and you can watch your video and practice along at any time, any point in time. Now you have the live sessions. Your live sessions, this is where you have a trainer in front of you on the screen, working with you, solving problems together. And I'll show you what that looks like. And when we say your classes are project-based, what does it mean? How do you learn in a project-based environment? So this is the platform for your live sessions, okay? So let's go to the cohorts that started. Let's go to the cohort that started. This is business analysis. Let's go to Agile, the Agile Project Manager program that started this August, about 2 weekends ago. All right. So I go to this particular classroom, and this is where you don't miss anything. Okay. If for any reason on a Saturday you are busy, you can't join, all your live classes are recorded. So you don't miss anything at the end of the day. So on that Saturday, you missed the live class, but you come back later in the evening, maybe you are free at that time, you have the opportunity to go through the recordings and see what happens. I'll come back to explain what the job tracker means and everything. You can also set up your interview preparation here. And you see the portfolio that I showcased. All you need to do is, you're only going to watch 4 videos right here. And this is what prepares you for the portfolio you're going to create. Everybody creates their portfolio watching just 4 videos. And your portfolio, like I mentioned earlier, that's your showroom, to showcase to employers the skills you have and how good you are, okay? You have your mentorship sessions. There was an interview simulation, all right? This happened on Thursday. We have yesterday. Mentorship sessions happen every Thursdays where, let me explain what the interview simulation looks like. And for anybody who missed this session, you can always go back, click on the link, you watch the recording, you see what happened. And this is where we simulate an interview and we ask you questions. So we create a job. We send it to you, your different groups, you apply to that job, and then we have an interview simulation where you come up, we ask you questions, you respond to the questions based on the job role. And this is Chioma. Chioma is responding. If I play the audio, I'm sure you've listened to what Chioma is saying. Let me see if I can share that quickly with you guys so you get to hear what Chioma is saying. She was asked the question.
Actionable insights. I have had the opportunity to work across various industries, including health, business and technology, and amongst others. Applying my data analysis skill, communicative skill, and collaboration skill to drive business growth. For example, at Analytics, I collaborated with a leading microchip.
Okay, so that's Chioma simply answering questions that have been asked to her based on the job she's applied to. Now, the importance of this type of simulation is Chioma is building her confidence, answering questions posed during interviews. People listening to Chioma are also learning how to respond to certain type of questions because we give feedback at the end of the questions. So you have the interview simulation. This comes up as well from time to time. You have the power of focus. This was a session taken by Femena, the co-founder. And like I mentioned, if you miss the live session, the recordings are always here. Now, the first week, you have your foundations of project management, okay? And if you look at the class materials, you'll be taught by one of the most fantastic Agile project managers. All right, so you come in here, you have access to your slides, you download your slides, and you can, practice everything that was done in class on that day. You'd work with Josephine. Josephine would be your facilitator, and she would be the one to take you through all the different aspects of your introduction and introduction into agile project management and so on. And if you ever miss the class, all you have to do is come into the class recordings and you have access to watch the recordings over and over again. Okay, you have your class recordings, class 2, which was project initiation. Week 3 was project planning and PM skills and so on. So week 3 would be next week. Okay, this is what you'll be doing in class, the project planning and project management skills. So you have access to all of this. Watch the class recording, you see how the class goes on. If you miss the class, you come back, you watch the recording, and you are able to interact, relate to the material, all the questions that were asked, everything that happened in class on that day. You have the opportunity to also interact with the material. So this is your live session. Okay, everything live is here. You can book your interview prep. You have your job tracker. Your job tracker helps you to record the jobs you apply to. On the back end, we also see the jobs you're applying to. So we can advise and tell you that once you've applied to 15 jobs and you haven't gotten a positive response for an interview, we reach out to you, have a one-on-one with you, and we strategize on how to go ahead with the application process. And that's what the job tracker does for you. Okay, so you also have a CV templates, which is provided to you. The best template for you to use. We provide you with different templates using the right format called the Wharton CV format. That's the best format when it comes to ATS. All right, so you have all of this, and this is what gets you into the job, prepared for the job, and landing that job. Okay, so I'm just going to take a pause right here. So between the LMS and the live platform, you have a blended learning approach for everything that you need to get started in your career as either a business analyst or a project manager, an agile project manager. So I'm going to take questions before we call it a day. Reginald has a question. Reginald, please go ahead and let me hear from you. Okay, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. I think you're muted. So go ahead and unmute Reginald and let's hear from you.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I wanted to ask something, right? From the testimonials, I realized there was a lot of good testimonials around business data analyst roles, and I wanted to find out, does that mean that it looks like there's a lot of job absorption for business and data analysts, much more than the agile project manager from what I see. I don't know if that is like what is on the job. I wanted to find out so I could be able to make the structured or more concise decision as to which one I should do. My second one is also concerning if there is a possibility, could we see like a Scrum, like an agile project manager portfolio? Because I saw the one from the business analyst. I wanted to see another one if there was for a Scrum or an agile project manager. So I'll be able to compare and be able to make a concise decision as to which one should do coming September 7th. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right, fantastic. So for the portfolio, I'll showcase portfolio for Scrum Master. Like I said earlier, all the programs, any program you join, you build a portfolio. It's part of the process for you. I'm going to show you one. Okay, just give me 1 second. And I'll show you what an agile project manager portfolio would look like and the type of projects you would also be involved in. Okay. Right, let's look at this gentleman's own. Let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see what we have. All right, so it's still loading to come up. His name is Aki. So Babatunde Aki also joined the program, Scrum Master Portfolio. So one of the projects he worked on is the FABS food application. Okay, so you build up an application for a restaurant where customers can apply, they can order food on that particular application. One of the projects you're going to work on, customer order summary, customer feedback, where you build an application where you can collect feedback from your customers. So these are some of the projects that you're going to work on the Agile as an Agile project manager. Okay, so everybody, like I said, this is the internship class for those that started in the month of March. They had their internship in March. So after watching your portfolio videos, 4 of them, you create and submit your portfolio. So if you look at this, you'd see people that have gone ahead, create their portfolios, and also uploaded the portfolio right here. So I can click on any of them, bring it up, and you get to see what they've been able to do, just like I clicked on Akin's portfolio. If I click on Adekemi, you'd also see Adekemi's portfolio contains all my projects and abilities as a Scrum Master and Management Consultant. So you also see the type of projects that Adekemi has worked on: the food delivery app, employee self-service application, which is one of the projects that the business analyst and the Agile project managers would collaborate together to get to solve during the internship. Now, going to your question on the jobs, when it comes to opportunity in terms of the demand, the Agile project managers and the Scrum Masters are equal in terms of the demand for jobs out there. And the simple way you can do this is go on LinkedIn. Because of time, I would have gone, we'll do it together, we'll look at that together. But looking at the jobs available on LinkedIn, it gives you a very clear picture. All right. You search for the Scrum Master role, the Agile project manager, Agile coach, and you'd see numerous amounts of jobs. Now, the reason why you'd see that, it seems as if the business analysts have more testimonials, the business analysts, the business data analysts. We've been running the program for the last 4 years. The Agile Project Manager Scrum Master program only started in 2024, February 2024. Okay, so that's the logical, simple answer to that. We've been running the business analysis program. New programs we added in 2024 includes the Cybersecurity Analyst program and the Agile Project Manager Scrum Master program. So that's why you would see that. So you have over 3 years worth of testimonials, and then you have just a few months of running the Agile Project Manager program. And that's why it would appear to you as if the business analysts have more jobs, but that's not the case. All you need to do is go on LinkedIn, all right, and just search. Let's search for an Agile coach, for example, or Agile project manager or Agile coach in jobs. And let's see what LinkedIn brings up for us. And this is how you test if there are jobs in that particular career path, okay? So searching for this alone, you can see Agile transformation coach. This is United States. My location is United States. You can change that based on your location. Scrum Master and Agile coach. Agile coach, and you can see the different, job roles across LinkedIn, okay? We can change this to the UK, for example, United Kingdom, okay? And also, you can change the job title, so it doesn't have to be Agile coach. So agility lead, Agile coach, Agile transformation consultant, Agile coach, and so on. But I can change this as well to Scrum Master, because as an Agile project manager, remember, Scrum is one of the frameworks you'd be working on, and which means you can apply to jobs as a Scrum Master as well. And you see Scrum Master, this was posted 1 week ago. We can filter to when, were posted within the last 24 hours and so on. And you can see the easy apply. For those of you that click on this button, never do that again. Never do the easy apply. It takes you nowhere. All right. So you see the Scrum Master, project manager, IT project manager, and so on and so forth. Or again, in the UK, for example, one of the best places you can easily get a visa sponsored job, and this is part of the sessions we hold separately for our participants, is the NHS. Okay, the NHS. So if you go to jobs.nhs.co.uk, I hope I'm getting the website right. Okay, just give me 1 second. I think I got the website wrong there. If you go to jobs.nhs.uk, and that's why you'd see a lot of our participants work there because of the opportunities. Okay, jobs.nhs.uk. I got it wrong the other time. So if you go to, I think I've been sharing the wrong screen all along. Whoops, so sorry about that, guys. I was sharing the wrong screen all along and I wasn't looking at my charts. Okay, so I'm going to share the right screen now and I'll just walk you through what I showed earlier. All right, so let's go back to LinkedIn. So this was when I changed it to United Kingdom. You can see Scrum Master, you can see the Scrum Master role, Scrum Master, Project Manager, Scrum Master. I was trying to move very fast because of time, so I wasn't even looking at the charts, that I wasn't sharing the correct screen. So Agile Project Manager, you can see all the jobs, okay? Junior Scrum Master, 40K hybrid. You can look at this particular role, for example. Can I apply to this job? Can I get the job? And so on and so forth. It was posted 2 days ago. You already have over 100 applicants. And these are some of the things we also show you how to apply to those jobs as early as possible. So you get in, first out in terms of the job opportunities, okay? If you type Agile Coach, like I did initially, you'd also see the different job roles available. And this is how you test if a job is in high demand, okay? So Agility Lead, Agile Transformation, Agile Coach, Senior Scrum Master, and so on and so forth, okay? You can change your location, United States, and this is just LinkedIn. There are tons and tons of other, job boards, UK Visa Jobs, Indeed, Read.co, ZipRecruiter, Flex Jobs, and so on and so forth. Now, I was trying to show you this NHS, which is where you can easily get sponsored jobs. So you can go to search, and you want to search for project manager. Okay, search for a project manager role. You don't need to necessarily, let's say, using a broader keyword. So project manager, let's search and see if there are jobs available, okay? 14,892 jobs found for project manager, all right? And this is where you start to apply to jobs, okay? You start to apply to jobs. All you need to do is look at the job requirements. And these are the things we teach you during your CV review session. You look at the job requirements. Can I do this job? Do I have the skills to do the job? Okay, so you look at the job description. What are the responsibilities? All right, you're going to preparing detailed analysis on highly complex information held on current and projected delivery and performance issues. Negotiate with, motivate project delivery, including linking with other initiatives, and so on and so forth, okay? So you have all of this. You have the requirements, okay? You have the requirements in terms of your experience, what you should know, project initiation, documenting, mapping, delivery, the project life cycle, and so on and so forth. So you have all of this, all right? So, and that's pretty much what you need to apply to jobs like this. We have over 54 alumni working with the NHS because the NHS will give you that visa sponsorship. Okay, so let me take more questions. I hope I answered your question, Reginald. Let me take questions. When you make payments, what do? You don't need to contact us when you make payments. What you need to do is very straightforward, and I'll just show you that. So once you've made payment with your card, debit or credit, the process is automated. Okay, you get a receipt in your email. The receipt also comes with a link. The link is where you get to click on that and complete the registration. So you enter your bio details, your name, your phone number, your email, and all of that, okay? Now, if you make payments by doing a direct transfer, so I'll show you, this is where doing a direct transfer also because you take your banking app, you transfer to any of the account details, and I'll show you what you need to do if you've done a direct transfer. So if you've done a direct transfer, maybe using Interact, or you've paid to our pound accounts or euro or dollars, as the case might be, take a screenshot as proof of payment. All right. Once you've done that, you still on this same platform, you'd see the link that says what? Upload your receipts. Okay, so you just click on that. So once you've done your direct transfer, take a screenshot, click on upload your receipts, and it brings you to this form. So for those that pay their cards, the link to this form gets into your email automatically the moment you complete the payment. But if you've done a manual transfer, take a screenshot, go back to the platform, the enrollment center, and click on upload your receipt. It brings you here. You enter your details, enter your email. Okay, enter your email. Sorry, enter your email, click on next, you fill all the details, your type of payment, was it a full payment, initial? Let's say you made a full payment, for example, click on next, you fill this form, and that's all you need to do. Once you fill the form, you get it done and dusted, you are in the program, okay? And for those who also want to start, however, your September is busy. You can't start in September. Maybe you want to start in October. We have a cohort that also starts on the 5th of October. We have a cohort that will start in November, I think on the 2nd or 3rd of November. Every first Saturday of a month, we have a new cohort that will commence. So you have the opportunity to also join and be a part of a cohort. So you secure your discounts today. The discount is not going to be available in October or November or December, all right? But you can make payments for the September cohort. And while filling this form, you'd see the option where you'll be asked when you'd like to start. So I'll just show you that very quickly to answer that gentleman's question who asked the question, okay? So click on next, fill the details, you upload the screenshots you have taken of the payment you've made, upload it here. What was the mode of payment? Was it Interact? Was it a direct transfer to the pounds, US, Canadian, or it was Interact, for example? You click on that, click on next. Next, fill the details. For those who might want to ask questions, because we have something we call the clarity session. So even after this session, you're not very sure, should I do agile? Should I do business analysis? You have the opportunity to, you can select agile project management if you are sure. You can select business analysis if you are sure, or you can simply select I need to speak with a professional. So if you select this option, we'll meet with you, sit down with you, have a clarity session, and guide you on the career path to choose. But let's assume you're sure. So the clarity session happens every Tuesdays, okay? So once you've locked in your discount, you've registered, you select, I need to speak with a professional. We schedule a session for you where we help you make that decision if you're not sure. But let's assume you're sure, you've chosen Agile Project Management, click on Next. And this is where you choose your cohorts. So the next cohort starts on the 7th of September, okay? Another cohort starts on the 5th of October. So you've secured your discounts, but you want to defer to start on the 5th of October. You can do that. So when others are paying the full amount in October, you have secured your discount already because you registered in September. Or you can start in November, and we also have a cohort that will start on the 7th of December, the final cohort of the year 2024. So once you fill all this form, you submit. That's all you have to do. Why? I'm trying to look for who asked that question. Who asked the question again? That was Abiola Ogunjimi. So that's all you need to do, Abiola Ogunjimi. So if you made your payment with your credit or debit card, this form I have shown you will come to your email automatically. You click on it, fill it. But if you've done a direct transfer, still on this same platform, the Analytics Enrollment Center, go in there, click on upload your receipts, and that form would come up. Fill the form, complete it, and submit, and we get your details. A week before the program starts, we send you a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the materials, all the applications you need to have on your computer before you start on the 7th of September. Or why is there no discount? Discount is not always available in perpetuity, all right? The discount is limited. for the first 20 people, not even for everybody. The first 20 gets the discount. So once we've done 20 project management, 20 business analysts, the discounts would go off and everybody else gets to make the full payments. I think I have another question here. For somebody who has foundation in data analytics and want to enroll for either Agile or business analysts, which of this career is best for him? And secondly, the business analyst and the Agile Scrum Master, which of them has a higher dollar pay? It depends. They're very similar when it comes to pay, okay? When it comes to the salaries, they're very similar, but the US pays the most when it comes to most of the career path within the tech ecosystem, all right? And for somebody who has done data analytics, I think the best bet for you is to go for the Agile project management, because it depends solely on where you want to be. All right. You need to know where you want to be in terms of your career in the next few years. Do you want to focus on managing projects, leveraging the Agile methodology, or do you want to focus on implementing, optimizing processes, making them more efficient? Once you're able to identify that, data analytics and most of these career paths don't really have any interconnectedness apart from business analysis, where you do a little bit of data analytics. Okay, so your data analytics skills are there. You can be a project manager and have data analytics skills, or you can be a data analyst and still have, a business analyst skills. And that gives opportunities to a wide array of jobs you can apply to. Being in any of these career paths, you can't make a mistake, because these are the career paths with high demand. You don't need any coding, zero level of coding, zero, nothing related to coding. All right, you're not building anything, you're not building any application. You are rather managing people that will build those applications so it meets the demand. Okay, let me take a question from Omar. Omar, I've asked you to unmute yourself. I can see your hand is up. I think we'll take 2 more questions and then we call it a day. But let me hear from you, Omar. How are you doing today, Omar?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I wanted to know,
Yeah.
I've got 2 questions. What transferable skills do you need to have in order to do business analysis? And what is
Okay.
the average salary for business analysis graduates that complete the program?
Okay, what part, where are you joining us from, Omar?
What do you mean? Oh, UK.
The UK, all right,
Yeah,
brilliant.
okay.
So what transferable skill? Very good question, great question, Omar. Now, as a business analyst, active listening is one skill that if you have, you can easily transfer that to a business analyst role, because you would do a whole lot of stakeholder engagement. You would have interviews, you would have workshops, you'd set up workshops, focus group sessions. So you want to be sure that you are actively listening and you are able to pick the type of recommendations that would help you implement the solutions that you need. So that's number 1. Number 2, communication skills. You need to be able to communicate. You can't be a business analyst and work from the back end. You are always at the front, leading change and leading innovation within the organization. All right. So imagine that you have led a project that involved implementing a new application that everybody would get to use. You would be the one to set up workshops and training to ensure that people that will get to use that particular application are well trained. Okay. And you would lead from the front. So you need to know how to communicate. And of course, communication, active listening, like I mentioned, also encompasses interviewing skills. Okay, because you learn how to interview, asking the right questions, which involves elicitation. All right, so these are 3 key transferable skills that you can bring from anywhere and fit into the role of a business analyst. I don't know if that answers the question for you. And the average salary of a business analyst is from anything from about £52,000 in the UK to about £55,000 That's the average salary for the business analyst. The business analyst, because of the type of work that they do and the type of projects that they lead, they tend to, command a little bit higher than the general average when it comes to data analytics and the rest. So a typical business analyst would earn slightly higher than the data analyst. And the data analyst average salary in the UK is around £40,000 to about 45,000 or thereabouts. Okay, I hope I answered your question, Omar.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Fantastic. Dorsu says that's so little. Well, there's something you call job hopping. Okay. Now, one of the things and strategies we're going to expose you to is job hopping. You're not going to start your first job as a business analyst and earn £60,000, £65,000, or even above. To even get a job that will pay you £60,000 in the UK you must be at a particular level. All right. Now, we've had people who have gotten those jobs. Make no mistake. We have a participant who got a job with Cognizant in the UK, one of the largest data consulting companies, data analytics consulting companies. He completed our data analytics program and got that job. And his starting salary was £60,000. But that's a one-off. Okay, it's an exception. He was an exception at that time. So you can get those jobs, but they're not very common. All right. The common jobs you see for a data analyst on the average in the UK, in the US, you can get a lot higher than that. And that's why we always encourage our participants not to just apply to jobs in their current regions. Your skills are not limited to the UK. They're not limited to Canada. I was in Nigeria and I was working for companies in the UK and in the US. We have participants who are in Ghana, who are in Nigeria, who are in the UK, and they're working for companies in the US. The average salary for a business analyst in the US is 85,000, 84,000 and above. So, counterparts in the UK. So you don't want to limit your job to one specific region. You want to apply to as many jobs as you can abroad and see if you can get those opportunities. Okay, all right. So Dosu says he lives in the US. Okay, what are the chances of getting remote jobs? Absolutely, these are jobs you can do those jobs without going to the office. You can work remotely wherever you are. And like I said, one of the major platforms that would help you get those remote jobs are flex jobs, number one, and built-in. Okay, flex jobs and built-in. Flex jobs is paid. It's a paid platform. But what we do is we have these subscriptions and we get these jobs to you, available to you. So these are the jobs you won't find generally in the public. You won't find them on read.co.uk. You won't find them on CV Library. You won't find them on ZipRecruiter, but you would find them on Flex Jobs. And for you to get those jobs and apply, you need to subscribe. But we have the subscription and we make those jobs available to you. All right, I think I'll take one more question and then we'll call it a day because of time. I want to wrap up before it's 3:30 p.m. my time. So I'll take a question from Ade. Ade, how are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for that. So I have a couple of questions I want to ask.
Go ahead, please.
So one may not necessarily be in particular to the role that you have discussed today.
Okay.
So my question is for the September cohort, the class that is resuming, is that just for the BA PM classes or all of the classes that you have on the platform? That's the first question.
Okay.
Then my second question is for someone who already is in the industry as a PM or Scrum Master, who has kind of gone from being the BA now a PM Scrum Master, Agile Scrum Master. Looking at the programs on your platform, do you think it's a good idea in order to maybe to like hone your skills more and all of that to do the financial analytics training or the or the HR analytics training? And do you even think it's necessary? Like, because you're already a PM Scrum Master, you've grown up in the ranks from being a BA. Do you think it's even necessary, just looking at the job market? I live in the United States, so just looking at the job market and wanting to hone your skills more, just better your skills as well. Do you think that is something that you would advise, or you just rather stay, or just stick to your PM Scrum Master and just continue to grow from there? I think those are my questions for you. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, Ade, and thanks for joining us today. So all the cohorts, all the programs we have, 8 of them: data analytics, cybersecurity, HR, financial analytics. We have a cohort starting on the 7th of September. So not just the business analysis and the project management role. So all the programs we have, they would all start, a new cohort would start on the 7th of September. And going into the rest of the year, all those cohorts start at the same time, the same dates. First Saturday of the month, October 5th, November 2nd, I think, and December 7th, right? So all the programs will commence, not just the BA and the PM. Now, going to your second question. Now, I always tell people that the pathway to expertise is experience. So when you talk about expertise, okay, so knowing how to do the job is one thing. Expertise is different. Okay, so if you are in the industry, you are on the job currently, and you have your plan for your career in the next 5 years. I want to be a project director in this organization, or even if I need to move to another company, I want to get to that next level. So the natural progression for you would be to stay on that same role and grow on the role until you get to that pinnacle of your career. Now, that is for somebody who wants to grow on that same career path. Okay, so you're moving up from being a Scrum Master or a project manager, you're moving to the next level, maybe a senior project manager or an agile coach, or you're moving and eventually you become the project director and so on and so forth. And that's you leveraging what? Experience to get to where? Expertise. Okay, expertise never comes from training. You can't be an expert from training, no matter, even if you go to Harvard. You go to the best schools in the world, you can't become an expert from training. You become an expert from experience, okay? So if you want to become an expert in that career path, you're already on the job. My advice would be focus on the job, grow through the ranks. You can move, and while you're on the job, you can check other organizations that maybe would have a slightly better pay, a higher job role in terms of the job title, and you can move to that job as maybe senior Scrum Master, senior project manager, and so on. Now, on the other hand, you want to get into a career path where you have a very fast growth and you have more opportunities within that space, or you want to make a career pivot. You don't want to be a Scrum Master or project manager anymore. I want to get into a data analytics career path. I was a management consultant myself, but while I enjoyed what I did at that time, I really didn't see myself in the next 5 years being a management consultant. Okay, and what does a management consultant do? You go into organizations, you look at what they do, you try to make it better, you try to make them do the things they do better, implement changes, organization redesign, and things like that. I wanted a job where I could get the data in the organization, analyze that data, give recommendations by presenting my findings to the stakeholder, and they would implement changes based on the recommendations I had given. So I saw the growth trajectory available in that career path, and then I made a pivot from a management consulting career path to data analytics. So in this aspect, it all depends on where you want to be. All right. If you see yourself doing something different from what you're doing currently, maybe you're currently stifled, you're not growing anymore on that particular in that particular job, and you want to pivot, there is no time that is not perfect for you to pivot into any area that involves the use of data. I tell people this: If you find yourself in a career path that involves the use of data, you're analyzing that data, you're protecting the data as a cybersecurity professional, you are storing the data, creating infrastructure to store that data as a data engineer, or as a HR analyst, you are getting data that are people related to analyze and give the business advice and recommendations based on that. As long as you work with data, you can't be making a mistake. In the next 5 to 10 years, the people that will look at themselves and say, I made the greatest decision ever, are the people that are working within these areas. Okay, so you want to find yourself in that career path. So Ade, what I would advise you to do is, if you can join our clarity session, please do. I'd like to get a little bit more, about your career journey, what you've done before. But what I would say is, if you want to keep growing on that particular career path as a Scrum Master, project manager, you might want to stay on that role, hone your skills, like you said, through experience. Experience is what gives you expertise and constant learning, obviously. All right, you have to learn constantly, keep on updating yourself because it's a very dynamic ecosystem and things keep on changing. Now, the other aspect would be that if you want to pivot, move into a career path where you see yourself doing something different. For example, as a HR analyst, numerous opportunities within the space, the demand is exponential when it comes to the opportunities, most especially in the US. I keep on emphasizing this. My very first job working for any company outside Nigeria was in the US. Okay, I was still in Nigeria at that time, and I worked for the company in the US, working on projects for them as a data analyst, data scientist. And these are the places where you can get those opportunities. And I hope I answered that question for you, Ade. Okay, once we make the initial payment, we get instant access. So you get access to the platform a week before the program commences. So 1 week before you start, you get access, you get your welcome kits, you get onboarded to the LMS, and the following week you start your journey. Okay, I think we're going to draw the curtains right at this point because of time. Okay, so Dosu is saying, not a question, but I signed up for the August PM class and wanted to shout out to my teacher, Josephine. Josephine is a fantastic, fantastic lady. If you've not met Josephine, you've not met somebody. Josephine is absolutely phenomenal. And Josephine would be the one to lead your training. And she's an amazing professional. Amazing. She's hilarious, absolutely. And that's what you get when you work with an expert. And let me give you a quick experience, and then we wrap up our session. Now, the advantage of being an agile project manager and not just a Scrum Master. So Scrum is one framework. Agile has more frameworks. Agile has Lean, Kanban, Scrum. Now, Josephine, maybe Dosu, you can ask Josephine to tell you this story. Okay, ask Josephine to tell you this story in class. Josephine worked as a Scrum Master for an organization. This organization found out that, okay, the CEO said, I don't think Scrum is working out for us. And given the type of projects we want to build in the future, we need to pivot into something else. Okay, now because Josephine had she had knowledge of Kanban and Lean, all she simply did was combine the Scrum framework and the Kanban framework, and it gave rise to a new framework called Scrumban. And she was able to implement that to execute that project and delivered on it. So you being an agile project manager gives you leverage because you have other frameworks that you can deploy if one is not working. And that's one of the major advantages you have as an agile project manager, as opposed to just being a Scrum Master. Dosu is saying she helps me with an interview I had this week, just being in class for 2 weeks. This is absolutely amazing. So Dosu has been in class for just 2 weeks. He had an interview and Josephine was able to work with him on that interview. That's absolutely phenomenal feedback. I hope you get that job, Dosu, and you'd be on our slides telling people that Dosu joined. Within 2 weeks of joining, Dosu got an interview and he got the job. All right, thanks for sharing that with us, just Dosu. Okay, thank you very much, guys. I hope you had an amazing time today. You'll get all the recordings. Follow us on all our platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Follow Analytics. Follow us so that you'll be the first people to get to know the amazing initiatives we have for you. All right, I'd love to see you get your journey started. So ensure that you join us September 7th. Take advantage of the discounts, and I'd love to see you in class. All right, thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I hope to see you in class. Cheers, guys.